Todd and Jack Viney.
I don't want to say this.
What?
But you know a bloke's old when he debuted against Fitzroy.
Yes.
I haven't been in the comp for 40 years.
Guess who I debuted against? Fitzroy.
Two of you are about the bloody same. We see Jack a lot. Welcome, Todd.
Yeah, thanks, JB. Thanks, Billy. Good to be here.
When was that, Todd?
It would have been 1987.
I was 1986. There you go. Yeah, they were a good side back then.
They were a very good team. Had some great players. So, Roosie was running around, Gary Baker and
Gary Pert.
I reckon Bernie Quinlan.
Ross
So,
Lyon.
Who was tough.
Did he ever get
tough.
you?
Yeah, no, he got me a couple of times. Yeah, no, they were good days, but yeah, a long time ago now, Bill.
Bloody hope.
So how does your beautiful wife and mum, Meegs, deal with the fact that she had to watch you play, Todd, in the most kamikaze, stupid way, and now your son's doing exactly the same thing? She must sit up in the stand and think, what the hell? What about being a little outside and just getting some uncontested ball?
Well, it's fair to say, mate, she didn't watch too much of my career. She was more interested in getting in the social club with the girls and having a few drinks. She didn't have a great deal of interest when I was playing, but certainly when the number one came along, she was a lot more interested all of a sudden. She's the expert on any coaching advice or anything like that these days. She's the one that gives it. So it's a different level now with Meg watching Jack than me.
How do you go watching, Todd?
Well, it's sort of been a mixed bag for me because nearly all of Jack's career, early days, I was at the Melbourne Footy Club as in this management really, but in the coaching box. So you sort of get a little bit divorced really from, the father watching your son sort of play footy. You're all business. So I reckon over the journey you've lost a bit of enjoyment of that because you're in business mode.
Yes.
But I reckon there was a game last year. I'm at the Kangaroos watching Kangaroos play the Demons and down in Hobart. And I think Jack did something, he dropped the mark or did something. I forgot, oh, God, Jack. And all of a sudden, Clarko gave me a filthy look. About, what are you actually watching? So
funny.
There's been some challenges.
You only watch your son when they do play. You only watch them. It's funny. I was the same there. Why wouldn't you do that? Does he? Well, the solo thanks dad stuff. What's he like as a dad? Does he give you much advice, or does he tell you why didn't you run there or do that?
Yeah, I think from a young age I've always been wanting to be a better player, and how can I improve? How can I do this? And having a pretty handy resource in my old man who's been in footy for a long time. So, a lot of the time I'll hit Dad up and say, what do you think of my game, or what do you think of this game, this tactic, yada yada yada, and Dad's pretty happy to give me his advice.
To be honest, Bill, that hasn't happened for a while. Early days, he was very inquisitive, but I'd say over the last 5 years, Dad, what about you just being Dad?
Shut up.
Shut up and let me go better. I have played 12 years of footy.
Well, 218 games, Jackie boy, for Melbourne. Todd, 233. So just signed a 4-year deal.
Zeroing in.
I think you just go straight past him, Jackie boy.
Yeah, we're getting there next year.
Do you have a banner?
When you pass your old man.
Yeah, pass your old man
absolutely. Absolutely. That'll be a bigger occasion than my 200th, I reckon. So, looking forward to doing that. Hopefully the body stays healthy for the near future, and we can pass that next year.
Does he rip out the old highlights, the old boy? He used to have the headband. He was like a member of a rock band back in the day.
Well, still had the headband from tennis days, I think. Yes.
Listen, I reckon I wore the headband for one season. And it's like that goat, it's sort of like just remembered for about...
Let's have the one
goat.
One year was rocking the long hairdo.
Yes.
Jim, you'd
bloody
across
hell,
this,
the days.
Absolutely.
The long fringe, and I was playing a game for Melbourne, and Neil Balm was the coach.
Oh yeah.
And I was going for a mark, and kept on putting the hands through the hair to try and take a mark. It was me and Stinger and a few other.
You had a few pretty boys back in the day.
Andy Lovell.
Oh yeah.
So we all thought
Chopper.
we were Chopper, and then Barnaby got us at halftime and said, "There's for you blokes." Trying to put your hands through your hair so you can see where the ball's coming. It's like, get a haircut. So the next week I rocked up with a bit of tape from the trainer.
You also had some hard units playing for Melbourne at that stage, Balls, Grinter, etc.
Oh, yeah.
How did they go when you said, look, I'm going to just play this game with a wide headband?
Well, Balls Grinter was super tough, and but he could hardly talk because he had his hair tipped. So it's like, it was a bit of a contradiction.
Who was the mad fullback? Danny
Hughes.
Yeah.
Kenny
Oh,
Hughes.
he
He was tough.
He used to belt the crap out of me.
Yeah,
I was
and he
scared
loved-
of him.
loved-
I was a little skinny kid, and
were.
he'd whack me. Him and Rick Kennedy. Danny Hughes
yeah,
was
yeah,
mad.
Rick Kennedy was a beauty, wasn't he?
Yeah, mate. But Danny Hughes was mad.
Yeah, no, him and BT used to have some great clashes. So they were the good old days. Probably wouldn't have played too much these days.
No, exactly. And, Jim, I don't know
Yes.
if you've heard, but Jackie Boy here, 4-year
Well,
deal.
let's just have a little break.
It's a tease.
Are we breaking? Right,
Because we've
little
got to
break and-
find out what happened there in the background.
to the
Jim.
bottom of it.
Yeah. Talk about that shortly, but the 4-year contract, Jimmy boy, for Jack here. And a couple of weeks ago, it was mooted that he might go to North Melbourne Football Club.
Right.
And Todd happens to work there, of course, football manager. So what actually happened here, boys? What did happen? Because I assume you just didn't sign the contract yesterday. It had been in the works for a while and nearly done. Did you talk to your old man about playing at North?
Nah, there was what Dad notified me probably back when this all kind of kicked off. That the Kangas were interested in getting some experienced players at North to help their young talent. So he reached out and said, I think North might reach out to your management, and just gave me a bit of a heads up. But since that moment on, it's just been kind of working with the club from that moment. Obviously, I was contracted next year, so extensions and that kind of stuff wasn't really on the radar. And probably just brought forward a couple of discussions, and that led to us, putting pen to paper yesterday.
Well done. Nice. That's
Good
nice.
result.
Bloody
Great
oath.
result for Melbourne. And
Bloody
you-
oath.
the one
Well,
club
yeah,
player thing
one
we all
club
love,
player.
and the Viney name. Been a different experience playing this year. You've
Yeah,
had the
absolutely.
track out for, you've had Clary out for a bit. You've had
Angus
obviously lost Angus
retiring.
Brayshaw.
Yep.
So a lot of you talked about it, the experience and the big bodies and the real class in there has not been around as much.
Yeah, it's been a challenging year for sure. Kicking things off with Gussie, shock retiring at the start of the year. That was certainly extremely emotional for the football club.
Did that shock you?
Yeah,
I was
no,
shocked
I don't
on that.
think I haven't cried that
Good.
that much for a long time.
Yeah.
So no, it definitely rattled certainly me emotionally, and I know other teammates as well, and the football club. So that was a heavy start to the season, and then obviously some injuries to key personnel as well throughout the year. It's been a challenging one where we haven't quite found our feet, but looking to finish the season off in style against the Pies on Friday, and I'm still super confident that we've got the talent and the ability to be
I
up
agree.
the top
Got
end
some
of
good young
the
kids.
ladder.
Yeah, I like what's coming through. Judd McVie and Van Rooyen and
It's good
Holstrip
kids.
and a few. Yep, nice looking
Rivers.
kids. But there are. I always think, and Todd, you would maybe agree with me, that there are always some blokes at footy clubs that you can say goodbye to, and they're not necessarily culturally that hard to replace. Good fellas, but they go and play somewhere else. But then there are blokes that you're really going to miss. And the nibbler, Alex Neil-Bullen, looks to me like that is exactly
nibbler,
what he is. We know why he's going back to Adelaide, and we wish him all the best with his beautiful family. But from a Melbourne point of view, he always looked to me like someone who was really important to the club.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think Nibs got the recognition externally that what he deserved and how important he was to our team, because he just set up our game, and you see his work rate, work ethic, his chases, his tackles. He does some freakish things on the GPS numbers. So to lose Nibs for the right reasons is tough. He's putting his family first, which you can only respect. But certainly a tough blow for the D's, and I'm going to miss him for sure.
How is Christian Petracca? Because we haven't heard from him, and there's a lot of stories and rumours, but I dare say you would have spoke to him. How is he feeling right now?
Yeah, I think it's been a frustrating year for Track.
Yeah.
And I don't think we can really sense how kind of traumatic that experience was for him. Like talking to some of our doctors, it's the worst and rarest kind of injury they've seen in footy. So to go through that experience and then to have the season we have as a team, no doubt he's frustrated, like a lot of us are. But he's in a good space. He's come back to train the last couple of weeks, and whilst he can't do a great deal because of his injury, he's still can't get his heart rate above a certain beats per minute. It's great to have him back around the club, and you can see his energy, coming back.
Now, how long are we in this interview?
No, we're going well.
11?
11 minutes. So it's taken me 11 minutes.
What for?
Todd, what the going on at North? There are only too many 90-odd point losses I can put up with from now on in, and you're my man, so where are we at?
Yeah, well, last week was really disappointing. We've spoken a lot about this year, and we've split it up into two. Really, the start of the year, we were trying to play a certain brand of footy, which we thought was suited to our personnel because we didn't have some key forwards. We lost Coleman Jones early, and Larky's not a big bustling forward like Billy was.
Oh, yes!
So we thought we had to move the ball a bit quicker, and so we set up the whole pre-season really around moving the ball a bit quicker, which is a little trend of what we thought the competition was dishing up. Collingwood played some pretty fast offensive footy, and Hawks were coming. You could sort of feel the way they were trying to play was quick. So we tried to really do that, but we just couldn't execute it. We were teased by it for a lot of the early part of the year. We get to the bye, frustrated with really couldn't defend the turnovers. Scoreboard was ticking over. Get to halfway, Clarko's always looking for the answers and not afraid of trying different things. So we get to the midway part, change a few things, play some more tall forwards. Zerha and Paul Keris now start playing more as the mediums and pressure type players. And we started getting some real traction, closing the game up, getting the pressure right. So the second part of the year has been really encouraging. We could have won a couple more games.
Yep.
But we've been in games, apart from two. And there was the Sydney game at the SCG where we just weren't in the game. And then on the weekend was bitterly disappointed. The Dogs can do that to you, but we're not accepting that sort of performance. We've got one to go, but we've got to get back to, being in the game, the contest, the pressure. It's gone through the roof for us. Our clearance work's been really strong. We've got to try and get that back. And we play the Hawks this week, which is going to be an important game for us to finish the year.
But the good news, or the blue sky, is Cam Zerha re-signing, Bailey Scott re-signing. We heard Dave Zuniak say that he doesn't want to go anywhere else. So that's a good sign for a footy club that's maybe not going as well on the field to have people committing.
No, the environment, the culture, the piece has been what we've been really trying to work on the last 2 years to make sure that's an environment where the players want to stay and they feel comfortable and confident that they'll get the best out of themselves. Staff want to come and work and get better. So we think we've got that part right, and that's a reflection of all the guys re-signing. Even though we haven't had a lot of the traction, but they can feel it coming. We can see it as coaches. Now, externally, the scoreboard hasn't ticked over enough, and so there's still going to be criticisms about that, but we understand that the last thing that will tick over is the scoreboard. If we can turn next year another good pre-season into another really competitive, scenario where we've been the second part of the year when we win most of the close ones, like Collingwood have managed to do over the last couple of years, well then we'll be in the contest, and people will start talking about us in a more positive sense.
I like Stop whinging, Jim.
I didn't. I just asked the boss.
No, that's what we do is whinge in here. The bloody North Melbourne, bloody North.
Since
I've left, they're no good. Since I've left, they're no good. All that stuff.
A little bit in that, Jackie.
Now the solo campaign.
Tell us about it.
It's called Thanks Dad. So if you had to thank your dad,
yes,
Jack, what would you say?
I've had a couple of goes at this, and I live a pretty blessed life. Getting to live out my dreams, playing AFL footy, running around, and I think a lot of that is because of the life my old man and my mum have provided for me. They worked really hard over their journey to give me every opportunity to live out my childhood dream, and that's why I want to say thanks to my dad.
Beautiful.
It brings a tear to my eye.
Yeah. I've got 4 boys, the oldest 30.
They wouldn't say that.
Not one of them has said thanks once for anything. In 30 years.
They might join this campaign.
Well, let's hope they bloody do.
And if they did, what could they win, Raps?
Well, firstcrusher.com.au/AFL Grand Final, and you can win 2 tickets to the AFL Grand Final or the NRL Grand Final, and the Storm are top.
Yeah.
So either of those would be great to go to.
Exactly. Flights and accommodation, transport.
That's it.
And they might say thanks, Jim.
That'd be good.
Who do you reckon will be in the granny?
A very good question.
GWS.
Giants?
You reckon?
Yeah.
I like GWS. I like how they go about it.
Yep.
On the field, they look like they play properly. I don't know whether they're yappy or not. They look to me like they bloody
Jack,
play the game
they
properly.
are on their social media.
Yeah,
I've
good
seen
with
a
that.
few things their social media.
Giants and Sydney.
Pretty good.
don't know if that'll go down too well
no,
here.
the
But
AFL wouldn't be that happy with it.
what do you reckon, Todd?
Oh, well, yes. I mean, Sydney have been really good. I mean, they had that little patch where they struggled, but yeah, Sydney, GWS, you like the profile of their list and how they're going. They've got a good, exciting brand and they're pretty tough, I reckon. So, yeah, no, it wouldn't be too far off the mark. Well, the Hawks got to get past us.
Yes, I like it.
So well done.
Good words.
And Lonnie on the weekend. So, no, they're playing some really good footy, though.
Exciting.
What about Hogs?
Yeah, he's having a great year. Is he winning the comp?
Yeah,
he's won it.
Oh, he's won
Wrapped
it.
it up.
He has
He's
wrapped
wrapped
it
it
up.
up.
Well, he's
Wow.
10 goals clear, so.
Yep.
Yeah, he's been looking, every time I've turned on the TV to watch the Giants, he's been looking extremely strong, and he was against us as well, which
Did he
I'm
used to
glad
go
for
to
him.
training on a skateboard with you guys, didn't he?
Hogs did some weird things.
He lived with us
He
for the
did some
first
he did
12
some
months.
strange things.
He came and lived with us. And the big bear, he loved his room and got he used to eat, didn't he? Like, loved his food.
Yeah, he'd get up at, early hours of the AM and just raid the pantry.
That's funny. Great to see you
Good
too,
on
by
you,
the way.
boys.
Todd, you're doing a magnificent
Yes.
job at North. Keep that going.
And
Jack,
well done,
great
Jack.
to see you re-signing to the Mighty D's.
Thanks, JB.
Very
Thanks,
good, guys.
Bill. Thanks for
Thanks.
having us.